To conclude this section on trad-on sighting, I wanted to revisit the legendary Welsh classic Right Wall, not to give the beta away, but to give an insight into the process of preparation and the mindset required for a hard trad-on sight. After 15 years, it will hopefully feel like an on-sight again. The secret to taming a route of this scale is to break it down into smaller, more manageable sections. Even the gnarliest trad climbs usually have the odd good hold or rest point to aim for, and luckily, Right Wall is blessed with 2 good rest ledges. In essence, it's like doing 3 shorter routes of a lower standard back to back, but with good rests in between, and it's essential to see it that way so that you don't get psyched out. So, you've been sat in the car for 3 hours, and your palms are getting sweatier and sweatier at the thought of that thing up there behind me. Usual story, you just pile on your rucksack, charge up the hill, maybe do an easy route just to get going, and all of a sudden you're right in the middle of your hard route. Well, what I'd recommend instead is to take advantage of the boulders that you generally get lying below the crag, just to do a slightly more focused warm-up. Well, here we are at the base of the route. Make sure that all your carabiners have turned the right way round. Just finally go over the order of your rack so you know exactly where everything's going to be. This is also a really good time just to have another little look at the route. You've already examined it and broken it down into sections, but just go over those sections again and remind yourself that you only have to get to stage 1, and once you've done that, on to stage 2. Also a good time just to imagine yourself really climbing well in a relaxed manner. Maybe shut your eyes, just take as long as it takes just to relax and gather your thoughts. And then away you go. Now that that's over, completely forget about that, apart from the fact that I can use that in a really positive way just to tell myself that I'm climbing well on the route. You know, that's my first little part of my mental checklist ticked off. So once I've secured my runners, then it'll be time simply to think about the next section, not getting too concerned about the whole route. You know, I'm not thinking about the top at all yet, it's just going to be from here to the next ledge. The next section I know takes me out into the middle of the wall quite boldly. Hopefully arrange some gear out there and then do what some say is the crux. And it looks like quite a strenuous position to place gear out there. Not very many footholds, although probably some quite big handholds. At least I know that if I get pumped, I can always come back down to this point. So it's nice to have that in the back of my mind. One of the most difficult things about situations like this is psyching up to leave the rest position that you're in. You know, you stood on this ledge, you've got a nice runner, you really just don't want to commit yourself and head off into the unknown. The best way to deal with it, at least I find, is rather than sort of looking up and looking down and getting all psyched out by the space around you, just focus in on a small bit of rock in front of your face. Pretend it's a bit of climbing wall and just let the holds lead you logically as if you were following a sort of a colour-coded boulder problem. So just go 1, 2, 3, 4, and before you know it, you're climbing and you're flowing again. Into a tricky section. Watch out for a wet pocket. Okay, so on the good hold. Look out for the runners I've been promised. And there's one that I nearly climbed past. That's a classic mistake. There's one just below my waist here. Gotta be a little bit careful because there's some wet streaks coming down the wall. So just try and get off the wet holds to place this nut. Last thing I want to do is come skating off as I place it. Quite a strenuous position there. Try and straighten my arm if I can. It's a good piece. Just what I need. Making sure I look after that left arm because I got a little bit tired there when I was placing that. This will be the classic sort of moment when you just want to check out a few footholds rather than just obsessing too much about the handholds. Maybe even mark a couple up, you know, with a few dots of chalk, because you're going to get quite stretched out by the look of things and maybe lose sight of your feet. Making sure I recover as best as I can, and definitely hoping that I can just climb this bit quickly. There's going to be no hanging around from this point until I'm onto the bigger holes. Okay, let's have a look. That was brilliant. Tempting now to sort of kid myself that I'm doing well, maybe get a little bit hasty, but you block out at this stage any thought of success, just concentrate on the thing in front of you. And at the moment, that's just getting some gear in and composing myself. The other thing you might want to do at a time like this is just have a little check for rope drag. Ask your belayer for slack. Pull both ends up and just check that the ropes are running okay, because drag always tends to hit you on that final upper section when you least need it, when you're at your most pumped. Because theoretically, at a sort of fairly secure position like this, you could actually pull one of the ropes up and drop it back down again whilst you were sort of secured by the other rope, just to eliminate any drag if one particular rope was causing a problem. But I'm pretty happy about the way I've managed my ropes, so I'm just going to press on.